When it comes to sales and closing deals, does clarity of your message matter? I'm Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento, California on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about clarity of your sales presentation. So here's the thing. At some point, somebody's going to sit down with you and they're going to have a conversation and you're going to be able to pinpoint a few things. And your stomach may go, something's not right here. Something's a little bit off. And I'm going to help you clarify what that is. So there's a saying out there that a confused mind always says no. A confused mind always says no. And I'm going to let you know that no matter what industry you're in, there is an order of operation. A happens before B, B happens before C, C happens before D, and so on and so forth. Okay, you could do 1 happens before 2, 2 happens before 3, whatever way you want to explain it. And this becomes important if you're going to give a presentation to a buyer and you want to sell a product, and especially if it's something that takes a lot of in-depth information, you want to make sure that there's the least amount of confusion as possible. So recently, I met with somebody that had been trying to meet with me for 6 weeks. 42 days. 6 weeks this person was trying to meet with me, and they gave me a presentation. It was like they just found a bunch of stuff on their desk, slapped it in a folder, and they were going to like, hey, I'm just going to show up and throw up, and I'm hopefully everything's going to stick together, and it's going to be good. And here's what happened. I looked at the presentation and I said, this isn't happening. This is just too crazy. The guy couldn't answer the questions, which were pretty standard for the industry that I was working in and working within, and he couldn't bring the information. And this guy was saying, I'm an expert at this thing that I do. And I'm looking at him like, there's no way in the world that you get results for what you do, for how convoluted the message is. So let's bring this to you. You need this sales tip. You need this sales advice. You really need to record your sales presentation. You really need to hire people to watch your sales presentation and make sure that things make sense. Because if there's a sticking point for somebody who's watching your presentation a few times, that means that you have a problem. That means there's no clarity in your message. And what that's going to turn into at the very end is the person's going to go, something didn't feel right. It was like right here, something didn't feel right. I didn't connect the dots all the way. There's just something wrong, so I want to think about it. Right? But I want to think about it is not really the objection. The real objection is you didn't give me a good sales presentation. And this is the really tough thing for salespeople to learn, that the real reason why, the real reason behind the real thing that's going on is not normally I want to think about it. There's usually something else that was there. Right? So you could use some sort of lockdown technique where you're like, hey, did you like the warranties and guarantees? Did you like the product service? Was it me? At least you're asking some questions like, hey, can you just be upfront with me? This is what I do. This is how I live. Like, can you just give me one thing that I could have done better? And every once in a while, that person's going to pop back with their objection and say, here's what the problem was. And if you're good, you can now close that deal. Okay? So clarity in your sales message really does matter. Otherwise, you're going to attract objections that you did not need to get. So videotape your sales presentation, record it, pay people to watch it. So here's the thing. If you have recorded your sales presentation and watched it and cringed, leave a note down in the box below. I've watched my presentation, or I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. And if you're saying that, put a calendar date down and make sure that it happens, okay? So record your presentation. Look for the sticking points where you're like, that doesn't make sense. Now, one of the coolest things you could do is you could go to a website like rev.com and you can translate your video. It costs $1 per minute. So think about this. If you're in a field where you make $1,000, $2,000 commission off of one sale and it takes you an hour, you are literally going to spend $60. $60 to go get a transcript made of your sales presentation. And the cool thing is when they transcribe it, they put all the filler words in like right? And all the things that you're saying that you think that you don't. And then you're going to, I didn't say that. And then you go back and watch your presentation like, oh my goodness, I said that. That's crazy. I see where my buyer's having some struggles. So there you go. Get some clarity in your sales message. It is super important for you to learn how to close more sales and learn how to close more deals, and it'll happen. Now you got one thing to do from here. Just one thing. And that one thing for you to do is find the subscribe button. It's a box, it says subscribe on it. You should hit subscribe, and every time I send out a video, you'll get an update that says Scott Bell Consultant sent out a video. You should watch it, which you should. We'll see you soon. Aloha.